All right. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, How to Choose Your Donor, hosted by the Fairfax Cryobank team. We're very excited to have you all here to share this presentation with you all. Two housekeeping notes before we get started. The first will be that today's webinar is recorded and will be shared afterwards. So if you have to hop off early or you want to share this with someone, that's no problem. That's fine. And then second item is that we do suggest that you go ahead and submit questions and answers today throughout the presentation, but we will save time at the end for Q&A. So go ahead and submit them as they come to you. We'll save time as we have possible. All right. So today you have Christina Garcia, our lovely cryobank manager. She will be leading this talk today. We have Doreen, who is the manager of client services. She'll be helping on a lot of the more informational slides and on the Q&A portion as well. And myself at the bottom there, Morgan Barker, marketing director, who will be handling the questions and answers. So with that, let's go ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Garcia. I am the Cryobank Manager for Fairfax Cryobank. I wanted to thank all of you here today attending today's webinar, How to Choose Donor Sperm. So as usual, I like to start off with our webinar goals. So we're going to go over donor categories and brands, specimen vial types and procedures, donor products and family building and planning, family limits, registrations, and resources. And then we're going to finish it off with a live donor search demonstration and a Q&A at the end with our client services manager, Doreen Vaughn. All right. So before we dive into our webinar goals, let's talk about getting started. So normally we have two types of clients who are ready to do a procedure and clients who are beginning their journey. So either way, Fairfax Cryobank wants to make this process and choosing a donor is as easy as possible for you, because ultimately this is an exciting time for you guys in your life, and we want to be there when you make this important decision. So if you haven't done so already, we do recommend that you talk to a medical professional to help guide you in your fertility goals. So most likely they will give you advice and also give you what their preferences are. Next, you're going to want to complete the terms of use, the TOU. So you can actually complete this electronically on our website. I do highly recommend doing it ASAP, so you don't stress about it last minute, because sometimes you might want to do a procedure last minute and that's the last thing that you want to add stress onto. So I do highly recommend doing that as soon as possible. Okay, so the fun part, we do get a lot of questions from clients like, how do I get started? How do I choose a donor? Where do I start? So we just simply say, sit down and create a list of characteristics that you value and are very important to you. For example, physical characteristics is a very popular one. We have other examples like ethnic background, personality, education, donor categories, brands, specimen types, etc. So as of today, we actually have over 450 donors to choose from. This number actually fluctuates daily, so you can always check on our website. And plus, we also have new donors that are always being added. So to add to this, our marketing team and sites are also working very, very hard on recruiting donors and trying to diversify our donor pool. So we are always open for any ideas. All right, so on to donor categories. So we have non-ID, ID, and non-ID to ID donors. Non-ID donors simply means that the donor did not agree to release identifying information to the donor conceived person, the DCP, also known as your adult child. So basically, this donor might have felt at the time of his contract that maybe he just wanted to remain private. ID donors, on the other hand, agrees to release identifying information to the DCP when they turn 18 plus years old. So as of March 2020, Fairfax decided to only accept ID donors. So we made this personal decision just because we wanted to evolve with the industry and society, and also give the opportunity for DCPs a chance to know who their donors are. DCPs must be registered, and I will explain that on a later slide. Non-ID to ID donors. California passed a legislation to allow non-ID donors to change to ID. So this actually began in January 2020. It is not mandatory. However, non-ID donors are asked annually if they would like to become an ID donor. We won't change their status category on the website, so it'll remain as non-ID on the website. So if there are any changes or updates, it will be made on the summary profile. When the DCP requests ID information at 18 plus years old, the process will remain the same. So again, both of these I will go ahead and explain on a later slide. So actually we have a couple new donor categories that Doreen's going to help me explain.
Perfect. So this year we introduced 3 different kinds of new donor categories. The first kind is our Advantage donor. These are the same high quality donors that are made available for a limited time and rotated in and out of the Advantage program regularly. The key difference though is reduced pricing. So it makes these donors options more accessible for all of our clients. In the US, these are for our US clients, while maintaining our high standard. So it's going to be the same as any of our other donors, except the pricing is less so that you are able to purchase it at a lower price point. We also introduced ID Reserve, which we have ID Reserve 10 and Right ID Reserve 20. These are the same rate donors, but they're exclusive. So they have a limited family limit or a smaller family limit. The ID Reserve 10 have a 10 family limit, and the ID Reserve 20 will have a 20 family limit. Our standard donors have a 25 family limit in the US as well as a 15 family limit internationally. We do abide by international restrictions for different countries as well. ID Reserve donors have their own terms of use letter, which Christina mentioned earlier that we require all of our clients to complete before purchasing. So you will see that when you look for the terms of use that there is one specific for the ID Reserve.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Okay, so now we're going to talk about donor brand codes. So we have 3 brands. We have Fairfax, Pacific Reproductive Services, and Cryogenic Laboratories. So basically, overall, why choose Fairfax? So to me, I believe choosing a sperm bank is just as important as choosing a donor. So you might want to consider factors like, are they FDA regulated and licensed? Do they have a good reputation, good sperm quality, a good genetic testing panel? Are their prices competitive, etc.? So our main sperm bank is Fairfax Cryobank, and it is located in Fairfax, Virginia. We also have 6 other locations in the US. And then to add to the brands, we have Pacific Reproductive Services, which was acquired by Fairfax in 2016 and is located in Pasadena, California, where I am located. And then we also have Cryogenic Laboratories, CLI, which was acquired by Fairfax in 2002 and is located in Minnesota. So all of these sperm banks are under the Fairfax umbrella, and you can order them on our Fairfax website, or you can also contact client services for help. Okay. From brands to vial types and procedures. So this is a popular topic, and we always tell our clients to ask their medical professional what they prefer. So let's start with the keywords below. We have IUI, intrauterine insemination, ICI, intracervical insemination, ART, assisted reproductive technology, IVF, in vitro fertilization, ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So our IUI vials, they are pre-washed vials with at least 10 million motile sperm. The seminal fluid was removed prior to the freezing process. So one vial can be used for one procedure, or you can use 2 vials for 2 procedures in one cycle. So these vials are mainly for those who do not have the capability of washing the sperm. So for example, like midwives and OBGYNs don't sometimes have the clinic to actually have the capability of washing sperm. So majority of the time they will require an IUI vial. ICI vials, on the other hand, are not washed with at least 10 million motile sperm. The seminal fluid was not removed prior to the freezing process. So these vials are good for like home inseminations and the ICI procedures. If the clinics do request, they must have the capability of washing the specimen before an IUI procedure. So again, one vial can be used for one procedure, as well as get 2 vials. It could be done for 2 procedures in one cycle. ART vials, they are IUI or ICI with at least 6 million motile sperm. You can use one vial for IVF. Normally the clinic requests unwashed vials first, but again, they can use certain vials if whatever the donor may have. You can also combine 2 vials for an in-office IUI or home insemination. The ICSI vials are IUI or ICI vials with at least 3 million motile sperm, primarily used for IVF and ICSI procedures. So these vials are, especially for ICSI, because the fact that the clinic will inject the sperm directly into the egg. So we started making these vials because clinics do not require as much sperm for the ICSI procedures. So in case there are no ICSI vials available, clinics can still use all the different vial types. All right, so let's talk about the procedures. So for an IUI procedure, at the very top right, your medical professional will use a medical catheter which will bypass the vaginal canal and go through the cervix directly onto the uterus. So this is why it's very important to have a washed vial. For the home insem and the in-office insemination, these are very similar. You will use a needleless syringe and the thawing instructions. So you'll basically insert the syringe with the sperm into the vagina and release it onto the cervix. The vagina basically serves like a natural wash system. So once you release it onto the cervix, it'll wash, and then so it'll go directly into the uterus. We actually have a good new recent YouTube video called Unboxing Vials for Home Inseminations. Highly recommend watching it, especially if you're doing a home insemination. It'll give you a guide on the whole process. And then on the right, again, IVF and ICSI, you can use any of the vials available. For if the donor doesn't have the ICSI vials, again, your clinic can advise you on what other vials they'll be able to use. All right, so fun part. We have a lot of tools that can help narrow your choices. Let's start with the free products. So we have the childhood photo of the donors. We have the summary profile. This is a brief overview of the physical and medical history, family history with 3 to 4 generations. So I say 4 generations because some of our donors have a child or children. This also includes religion and any updates, including what I mentioned before, the non-ID to ID donors. All right, and then we have the staff impressions. This is about the donor's physical appearance and personality done by the staff. Donor essays, we provide questions and the donors will answer them in written form. Medical profile, this includes personal behavior, sexual history, genetic history, ancestry, and the donor's family history. The genetic testing summary, so this will actually show you what tests the donors have done. So obviously the older donors will not have as many tests done as the new donors, simply because, genetic testing has completely evolved over the years. So for example, in January 2018, our new donors were tested for over 280 recessive diseases. January 2022, we were at 502, and now this year we started off at 514, and now we're at 549 testing. So you can see how much has evolved in just a matter of a few years. If you are interested in learning about genetics, we also do have an amazing webinar that is on YouTube, and I think it's on their blog as well, and it's done by our genetic counselor. If you are interested, I highly recommend, and it's a very good learning tool. And then also we have our audio clips from the donor and staff. It's about 1 to 2 minutes. It's a clip from the actual full auto interview, so that's pretty interesting. And then so for the products for purchase, we have the full personal profile, which is the extensive long version of the summary. We have a silhouette. It's like a blacked out side profile of the donor. And the adult photos, we have approximately, I think we're about at 70% of our donors actually have an adult photo. Lifetime series photos is not a requirement, but you can always check on to the donor profile to see if they have that available. Full audio interview. So this is one of my favorites. It's about 15 to 20 minutes. It's a full length version of the actual clip that I mentioned for the free product, but you can hear the donor's voice, you can hear his speech, tone, the emotions, etc. So I think it's a really good tool if you really want to have a little bit more a personal reaction to who the donor is. And then we have the personality type. They do a testing, like for example, if they are extrovert or introvert, etc. All right, so Dorian's going to help me talk about the packages and the family planning.
Perfect. Thank you, Christina. So we have some access packages where you can view the information that Christina just went over with on our donor profile. They are 90-day access packages, and they include unlimited access to, well, I'm going to go through the different levels. There's a lot of information on the donor's profile that's free, but the access packages allow you to view and review the additional information that's going to have more information for you about the donors. The basic access, which is $109, includes everything that's free plus the personal profile and the silhouette. The full access, which is $149, includes everything available on the donor's profiles. We also have Club Fairfax, which includes 90 days of full access to the website. So you get to view everything on the website for 90 days. And for a full year, you get benefits that include 2 free shipping fees. Our shipping fees are $395 and for overnight in the US and $320 for 2 business day. So that really does pay for itself when you buy Club Fairfax. And if you are planning ahead to purchase multiple vials for future pregnancies, future siblings, our Club Fairfax benefits also include buying 5 vials and getting the 6th one for free. You do not have to purchase all 5 at once. You can purchase 2 one day, 3 in a couple months, and you get the 6th one for free after that, as long as it's in the year of your Club Fairfax. That one really is the option I really recommend if you're planning on shipping multiple times, or if you're planning on purchasing 5, 6, 7 vials, however many vials you want to purchase for family planning for that. But those are all available on our website. We're also including a coupon code for $149 off, so you could get free full access at the end of this webinar. I also wanted to talk about family planning with Fairfax. Our vials can sell very quickly. If you spent time on our website, you do see that. To ensure that your donor is available, we do recommend purchasing the vials as soon as they're available. We offer some programs if you purchase vials and they have not been shipped out from our facility, if you purchase more than you need. So if you purchase like 5 or 8 and you end up getting pregnant on the first one, or getting pregnant quickly, or your plans change, as long as the vials have never left our facility, you can return them for 50% of the original purchase price. If you have another donor, if you end up purchasing your number 2 donor and then your number 1 donor becomes available, because inventory can change at any time, we are able to exchange donors for you, do a swap, as long as the vials have never left. There is an exchange fee of $160, and you would be responsible for any price differences between the vials you initially purchased and the vials that you were exchanging it for. We do also work with some third-party financing companies. We are working with CapEx MD, Future Families. It's not on here, but PatientFi as well. PatientFi is another third-party financing company that is running a promotion right now for our clients. That's on our website as well. Our client services team is also able to send you a payment link, so you can pay by Apple Pay or use Klarna or Sperm in the US. Those are programs that break it down into different payment options, or like split it into 4 instead of just 1. Payment to help you be able to afford this a little easier. And then we do have Progeny coverage. So Progeny generally covers 4 vials and 1 shipping fee. So if you have Progeny as a benefit, that is something that we do work with. We're a network for them. But again, the inventory does change daily, so we cannot guarantee donor availability in the future. I have seen donors sell out very quickly within 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So just being aware of that, and aware of all the options that we offer to help you purchase.
All
right.
Awesome. All right. So now we got our family limits and registration. So reporting births are important. Very, 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 very important. We do heavily rely on you to report all of your births. So Fairfax stops distribution to new clients when there are 25 families reported in the US. We also distribute globally, but we also follow all the international regulations. So for example, the UK's limit is 10 families. Even though if ours is a 15 limit international family, we still abide by what UK would go by. And last, ID reserve donors have a smaller limit, as Doreen mentioned earlier. And then now we have the ID registrations for ID donors. This is when the mother or partner on the account will complete the form to register the child for the ID donor program. So your 18 plus year old adult child will contact us directly so they can begin the process. We will not correspond with the client, only the DCP. So again, the DCP must be 18 plus years old. They will complete the form and provide ID, such as driver's license, passport, or a birth certificate. So once we confirm the DCP's birth info, we will contact the donor for his preferred method of contact. If he responds, we will provide the information to the DCP only, which will include the name, date of birth, and preferred method of contact. If the donor does not respond in the allotted time frame, then we will provide his name, date of birth, and all his contact information. So we are receiving a lot of inquiries now. So we do ask for about 5 to 7 business days in a reply. If you have any questions, it goes directly to me. You can email at dcpinfo@fairfaxcryobank.com. All right, for resources, we have Fairfax blog. This is where a lot of our info is stored. You can see the past and informational blogs, webinars, testimonials. The Fairfax newsletter, you can actually subscribe to and get promotions, giveaways, find out about the new donors, tips, and what's new before others. The Fairfax Family Forum. So we've been doing this for, I guess, a little bit over a couple of years. It just started getting popular. This is forums for the clients and DCPs. You must have a pregnancy or a birth reported. So before you register, make sure to complete your report. It's separate from the Fairfax website, so you will need to create a different username and password. Once you register, you can join your donor group. If you don't see your donor, it's okay. We can start a new one for you. So this also includes all brands and non-ID and as well as ID donors. So again, we started off with, like maybe about 20 a month a couple years ago, and now we're approximately about 100 requests a month. So that's fantastic because it gives all of you clients an opportunity to, connect with others that have the same donor and for siblings. Okay, so let's go over this donor search. Let's see here. Okay, so this is the main website, and you'll see here on the top it says USA, so we're going to go ahead and use the USA English option, and you're going to click on to donor search, and it will bring you up to the page of where you can start to choose your different types of categories. So let's just go over the basics, and then we have like the donor category, which mentioned ID, non-ID, and ID reserves, height, ancestry, color of hair and eyes, education, if you want like an adult photo, specimen types, and then you go here, advanced search, you can do brand codes, ethnicity, skin tone, hair type, CMV status. So CMV status, if you do see a donor that's listed as CMV positive, it just means that they have been exposed in the past and carry the protective antibodies. They do not have an active infection. So any donor with an active infection will be deferred and the vials will be destroyed. So it just simply means that they carried a protective antibody. Most of your doctors, they'll talk to you about that if you're curious about the CMV positive. All right. And then we also have age range, positive pregnancy. Sometimes if you're doing an IVF procedure or ICSI, clinicians will want like a positive pregnancy. Again, talk to your advisor and they'll go over that with you. Blood type, Rh factor, again, talk to your medical professional. So here's a genetic carrier screening section. If you know you have a genetic carrier, you can always go and click on to see if you're, here we go, pop this up. You can scroll down and look for if the donor has been tested or not, and then you can always apply that to the choices that you make. And then if not, you can also do by gene name if you know by the gene. If you do expanded panel with donors that are all negative, just to let you know that it's going to be a very, very small list. Expanded genetic disease testing for the donors, like I mentioned earlier, like we've evolved and with our whole panel has gotten greater throughout the years. So then lifestyle search. This is more like fun tools about favorite subject, astrological sign, religion, if they're Jewish ancestry, favorite pets, goals, and talents. So I'm just going to choose, let's just do a couple of them here. I'll do like adult photo and ID donor. Go all the way to the bottom and click on search. Okay, so it looks like as far as having an adult photo and an ID donor, we have about 312 donors that match that. Of course, if you start picking a little bit more choices, then it will narrow your search a little bit lower. I'm just going to go with the first one so we can look at what the profile items and everything looks like. So here's a little overview of from what the donors, like I said, the physical appearance and their personalities, and then just a basic overview of a little summary. Here on the right hand side, as I mentioned earlier, this is the summary profile. So if you click on that, it will give you, like I mentioned, all of the basics of the donor's medical and the family history. So, and if you go all the way to the bottom, oh, it's very long here. Okay. Here we go. Updates to profiles. So this is where all the updates, anything that has changed by the donor or by his family medical, this is where it'll be, including if this donor is an ID donor, but if it was a non-ID donor, this is where we would put the information there and say that he has chosen to change to an ID donor. All right. And so here you can see like the staff impressions, and these are all the free items. And this is pretty cool. This is like a little clip.
Donor 7502 tells us his experience of growing up with a large family.
So you can kind of hear just a little bit basics of the donor. And then this is also the staff comments. Here is a medical profile. So this is available for free for everyone to see what their extensive part of the medical background. This is where the genetic testing, there we go. And this is where you can download it and you can save it for yourself for free. And sometimes your medical professional is going to request this because they might want to see and see if this is a good fit for you. So you can always take this, and it looks like this donor has the expanded panel. And then acknowledgement of carrier status. So because, again, some of the donors will have a carrier of, let's see, here we go. And then so This will allow you to, if you want to use this donor, it'll allow you to sign off on here and saying that you're acknowledging about the donor carrier status, so that you were made aware of this situation. So a lot of the donors are going to have this, as I mentioned, because of how extensive our panel is. And so here below, you have the personal profile. You could do, add to cart, or as Doreen mentioned earlier, we have, the different packages, and you can sign up there as well. And then down below, you can see what vials the donor has available. Again, you can call client services and then ask them, for advice on what, vial types are available. Sometimes it might say, call at this section right here. So, you'll have to call to see if it's available or not. All right, so that's just the basic overview of a profile and a donor search. Let's go back and let's go here. All right, so ready to purchase. Again, you're going to want to complete the terms of use. Contact client services if you ever have any questions, or check for vial availability, etc. You can place an order, ship, or pick up. Have your donors' numbers ready. We do recommend that you have, multiple donors just in case of their availability. You'll want the vial type and number of vials, the clinic information. We also have storage at our 7 cryobank locations. So again, our main corporate office is in Virginia. I'm located in Pasadena, California, and we have Austin and Houston, Texas, Roseville, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Miami, Florida. So we have an amazing client service team that is there to help you every step of the way. You can contact them at their 800 number, it's 338-8407, or you can email info@fairfaxcryobank.com. If you are an international client, you can email global@fairfaxcryobank.com. As Doreen mentioned, we do have a promo code 2025 how to choose. $149 is an amazing discount, and you can get the full unlimited access through December 20th. I definitely recommend taking advantage of that. So I am not a medical professional, but if you do have any questions, we will definitely get any of your answers for you. So thank you so much for joining, and now let's do the Q&A with Doreen.
Wonderful. We already have a bunch of questions trickling in already, so we'll go ahead and get started. Just a reminder, you can submit them through the panel on the right-hand side or your little chat box. Is there a way to know when the donor donated sperm? Is that included in the profiles?
That is a great question. The availability of the donor changes every day, as I mentioned. So you are able to call our team to find out like the general dates of when the vials are created, but the vial dates are not assigned to your order until you place an order. So that's definitely a question you can call our team to inquire about. We're able to give you some general information.
And what about, and a second question came up, as well as how long the donor specimen has been stored?
That's a great question as well. We're an FDA regulated program, so at minimum, all of our vials are stored for 6 months while they're undergoing quarantine testing, infectious disease testing during the quarantine period, to ensure that there's no infectious disease in the sperm. So at minimum, they're at least 6 months old, but they could be stored longer than that. The sperm is frozen and stays at the same temperature. So it is, nothing changes no matter how long it's frozen at the same rate.
Thanks. And what about, do all new donors undergo the same standardized genetic testing panel, or are there different panels with varying degrees of coverage?
It depends on when the donor joined the program, what the panel was that we were using at that time. So you will see, if you look at different donor profiles, you will see different ones on different donors. But and you'll see ones that say, this donor has expanded genetic panel testing. So there are some that have 500 and something traits now.
Cool. There's a lot of range in the times that donors are donating. A lot of age. Sorry, I'm trying to understand that. There's a lot of age range in the donor time at donation. Their donor age at donation. Is there a documented benefit with donors who donate at younger ages?
That's a great question. We have a quality standard for all of our vials, so they have to at least meet that quality standard to be part of the program. I know we have donors from different ranges, and it will say on the donor profile their age range at when they joined the program. But they have to be at least 18 and no older than 39. Is that right, Christina?
Yeah, they basically cut it off right before 40 because 40 is the absolute cutoff.
Yeah, so that's the age range that they have to be able to donate in the program.
Okay. And when a donor needs to be tested for a specific gene the woman is carrying, do you test a sample or do you call the donor back to the clinics?
That's a great question. We do have a genetic team who is able to do additional genetic testing. That's a paid service that we offer for a specific genetic trait. If you're a carrier for that and the donor has not already been tested for that, we can absolutely check to see if we can test for that. I believe it's situationally dependent on whether or not we need more samples from the donor or if we already have some in stock. It really just depends.
Yeah.
And what is the best way to send medical and genetic profiles to my doctor? I tried emailing, but the files were too large, and I also tried zipping the files.
Ooh, I'm not sure. I've never heard that has been an issue before. I'm not sure if your clinic requires like a portal or something, but they are PDF files. So I haven't heard that being an issue before. I'm so sorry.
I mean, the best way, I guess, is to just print it and bring it in. But
okay, cool. Is there a way? Let's see. Sorry, so many good questions, guys. Does Advantage Donor program have standard limits?
If you're asking about family limits, yes, they're the same as all of our standard donors that have the standard 25 family unit limit. Yes, the only difference is the pricing.
Okay. With the ULAs, does the free shipping include international to Canada? And are those prices in USD?
So all the prices on that we just reviewed are in USD. Canada clients, you do have to order through your distributors, either Canada Cryobank or Can-Am Cryo. They are going to be able to assist you with purchasing. They have their own inventory of our donors, and whatever fees those are completely separate.
Okay. Sorry, what is the adult child photo set?
So that is a picture option that shows the donor as an adult as well as a child. So you can see the difference between both of them and compare. Not all donors offer that. I think about 2/3 of our donors offer that at this point. But you'll have to check to see if that's on their profile or not.
Okay. I have a donor in mind that only has ICSI vials available and no reported pregnancy. Why is this, and does it mean they're less fertile?
Ooh, good question. So availability for the vials changes at all times. ICSI vials being available right now might mean just the other preparation types may have sold out. You can call our team to check to see what is going on with that donor. That would be my best suggestion. Generally, as a rule, we don't expect pregnancies or birth reports to come in until around the 1 year mark, as not all clients report both pregnancies or births. They might just report the birth. And so we would expect that to, if the donor was available in January and they conceived in February, we would expect that to happen, till the births to be reported after the child's born at the end of the year or whatever. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no conception happening. It really just means that we don't have a report at this current time. But you can check to see when the donor joined the program and if other vials are expected to become available in the future, kind of what's going on with that donor. Our client services team is really happy to help you answer those questions.
Great. Can you walk us through the storage procedure? Is there a limit and what are the fees?
We have a great storage program. Our storage fees are $50 per month. That is a flat rate regardless of how many vials are in storage. So you could store one for $50 or you could store 300 for $50 as long as it's in the same storage account. We also offer prepaid options ranging from 6 months to 10 years with really competitive rates for that. That is on our website. If you look up our billing agreement, it kind of breaks down the different pricing for that. Or if you call our team to ask questions, we can help you review what's the best option for you. But we have in my experience, pretty competitive pricing for that.
Great. And then why would a donor not submit an adult photo when joining the program?
That is a great question. I know some of our previous donors, that might have not have been something we offered at the time. I think it's, Christina, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a decision between the donor and the lab they're working.
Originally, it wasn't a requirement. So, I mean, it was just an option. Some donors might want to keep their identity private, but yet they're still an ID donor. So just depending, we do have a lot of, donors that, because of like social media and, they try to keep their profile as, protected. But now we actually have that requirement that when donors do join, we have to let them, I think now it is a requirement. But sometimes they might opt out on it, but it's very seldom now. So that's why we're about like 70% of adult photos.
Great. Does each type of vial have a specific number that comes with each order?
Is that
I think it's probably the quality standard that they're referring to. Sounds like, right, Christina? It depends on the preparation type.
Yeah, I mean, once the order is placed, that it'll show all the details of that vial type and like the specimen quality of that, the number, the modal sperm, everything. It'll show that it might be vial number 1, or it'll show all on the package when it's being sent to for the clinical paperwork, and it'll provide all that information for that specific vial.
Great. Is there a general checklist somewhere of what should be done or what steps I should be completing before purchasing your vials?
The first step to purchase with us is filling out the terms of use letter. Once you've done that, you're able to have that's a purchasing agreement with us. So you're able to purchase with us. We recommend, probably talking to your medical professional if you have not already, to find out what you need to purchase, like what preparation type, how many vials, what your plan is for your insemination procedure. Having all that information. As far as purchasing with us, you need the terms of use letter. If your donor is a genetic carrier, there is a genetic form on the donor's profile that also needs to be completed prior to purchasing. making sure you have your donor information, how many vials you want to purchase, and your payment information ready when you call us is a great list. But our team is also really happy to help you narrow down the list of donors that you're looking at, and answer any residual questions you have before you get to the point of being ready to purchase.
Okay. And then what about, let's see. Okay. Does the reported pregnancy include if the donor has their own child or only if they get pregnant with their donation?
It does include reported their own children if they have that, yes.
Is there a filter option where the donor is open to contact later in life from their child, not for financial incentive, but for genealogy or curiosity?
So if the donor is open to being contacted or being identified in the future, it's going to say ID on there. Otherwise, it'll say non-ID.
Doreen, can you talk a little bit about the home insemination process? Some questions are coming in about that as well.
Sure. So that is something that we are Fairfax offers the ability to ship to a home address. When you're ready for that, we have different paperwork for you depending on what city and state we're going to be shipping to. Different states have different legislation about parentage, which is why we have to have different paperwork. So calling our team to find out what paperwork you need to have for that. Once we have the paperwork that we're able to ship to home address, our client services team is able to assist you with placing that order, making sure the address is correct, and scheduling that to arrive. It is a $25 additional residential fee on top of the donor vial fees and the standard shipping fees. But we are able to assist you with that. And that is specifically for our US clients. We are not able to ship to a home address outside of the US, unfortunately.
Okay, so even in New York, what's the process like for that? Someone wants to
For New
follow up.
York, a physician does have to be involved. So we would have to send paperwork to your physician or licensed medical professional authorizing you to ship to your home address.
Okay. Does the standard genetic testing include testing of sickle cell, or would that be done in a more advanced testing?
Sickle cell is included on our standard. I think they do a hemoglobin evaluation, test for sickle cell.
Yes.
And alpha and beta thalassemia are pretty standard.
Okay. And then we have a couple of questions about the Fairfax Advantage donors. Some
Sure.
questions about why it's so much cheaper. Is that something they should be concerned about?
No, this is what Fairfax is trying to do is give our clients an opportunity, because realistically, we know that you are spending thousands and thousands of dollars for insemination procedures. You are spending thousands of dollars purchasing vials at the prices. We're trying to give you an opportunity to purchase vials at a lower price point to help you out with the other costs that we know you are facing. So we are rotating donors in and out of that. A donor that might be in the Advantage program today might not be in the Advantage program in 2 weeks. They might be back to the standard price, the other pricing. The quality is the same. The vial preparation types are the same. The screening of the donor is the same. The only difference is the pricing.
What about the UK process as well for shipping to the UK?
For shipping to the UK, we tend to work more directly with your clinic about whether or not once you're ready to place the order. So what you do is you can either place it online or call our team, or you can email our global team when you're ready to place that order. And we're going to be able to confirm that the donor is UK compliant, and send all the paperwork we need to your clinic for approval, for shipping approval. Once we confirm everything is great with your clinic, then we coordinate the delivery to your clinic. So it's a little bit more involved than some of the other areas that we ship to. But our international team is really great at helping answer your questions and assisting you with placing those orders.
All right. Is there a motility/fertility requirement for donors? It makes me nervous using a donor without reported pregnancies.
Yes, we have a quality standard for all of our donors. That's going to be dependent on the vial. So the vials are consistently tested to make sure that they're in the correct range of total motile cells. For example, the IUI and ICI premium vial should be expected to have the 10 million total motile cells post-thaw. But the pregnancy, as I mentioned before, it does take some time for the pregnancies and birth reports to come in. I've talked to clients who are like, "Oh, I forgot, I have a 2-year-old now," or some people report
Yeah.
right when their child's born. They're like, "Hey, we're still in the hospital, our child's born," and some people report 2 years down the road. So it really we want that information as soon as we can. We require it in the paperwork that you sign to purchase with us. But we do expect those to come in after the donor's been there for a little bit. I hope that answers that question.
There are a lot of questions here, some that we don't have time to answer today. So, as always, feel free to reach out to the client service team. Doreen and her colleagues, that team is really helpful and here to help answer any questions that we weren't able to get to today. So feel free to contact them regarding any questions you might have. Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
for
you,
those.
everyone. Thank you, Christina. You did great.
As well as you. Always thank you. Bye, everyone.